Okay, it's that time of the show. We call it Around the Movie Block with The Rock. And let's go the way back.
Right.
Talk about the way back.
Yes.
Movie with Ben Affleck.
Yes.
And let's hear Rocco's review on The Way Back.
Yes, The Way Back stars Ben Affleck, and it's directed by Gavin O'Connor. It deals with troubled Jack Cunningham, played by Affleck, with a formerly promising career in basketball, who struggles with alcoholism while coaching basketball at his old high school. The thing that really strikes me about this movie right off the bat is, in terms of stories, we've had movies about people with alcoholism, but this I really feel is like an alcoholism-centered story where you really do feel a sense of what it's like to have this. I think like the whole tone of the movie has this kind of like depressing kind of malaise, which I think in many ways, even though it has potential challenges for people with, you know, the narrative of the movie, I do feel in spite of that sets the tone perfectly in terms of making you really realize just how just depressing and sad it is to have alcoholism and just the destructiveness it causes. And I think, like I said, in regard to whether or not that will sufficiently entertain you, I do feel that it sets the perfect tone for this. I don't think there's been a movie that has captured this, you know, any degree better than this. I think Ben Affleck really is the center of this movie. He performs this movie truly fantastically. The cast that rounds out the supporting cast does a very good job too of anchoring the story. Yes, it's a basketball story. It's a sports drama, but it's not like your typical sports dramas. Most sports dramas are centered on the players. This one is centered more on the coach. And I think it works with this particular movie because it's basically not so much of a sports drama, but it's about one man's trying to battle his demons with alcoholism. And it's done in a fairly entertaining way with this, you know, with the sports drama aspect in the background. I think some people might be a little frustrated that you don't get much a focus on the players. Usually with these types of movies, the focus is kind of evenly balanced between the coach and the players, like the Mighty Ducks, for example, and Bad News Bears. But I think in terms of this type of story, I think the focus being more on the coach works for the most part. And I think that's due to Ben Affleck's performance. Ben Affleck really, like I said, is really the guiding force in this movie. He really gives it a gravity that's very, very important. He gives a performance that's, you know, very real, but also very sensitive too. So I really do feel that this is a movie, in spite of things that may seem a little familiar to you, that we've seen in countless sports dramas of the past, this is a nice welcome addition to those types of movies because of Ben Affleck and what he brings to it. He definitely brings a real gravity towards this that really shows that this sets apart. And also what I liked about this is that it doesn't go the cliched route of having to tie everything so neatly with a bow. Yes, it does do that to an extent, but it's not done in like the typical way where you feel like it's insulting your intelligence and trying to provide a happy kind of wrap up to this that you normally see in these types of movies. I think this does it in a very intelligent, sensitive way, and I think that there will be a lot for people to enjoy. And since Howie was so wonderful enough to go see this with me, what do you feel about this that I haven't already touched upon?
Well, one thing I would touch upon is that when an adult loses a young child,
yes,
it's such a devastating loss, and it shows how a young person struggles with, you know, losing a son, daughter, in this case a young son.
Yes.
That it just creates a devastating void that unfortunately takes over and turns him into, but the vice of alcohol to relieve the pain is so strong. But I think the other part is that he really connected with the young players. not just as a coach, but as a leader. And he really made a profound difference in their life. And I think that was a great story. And I think it's great because I think it touched on how a coach can make a difference in young people's lives, but also focus on how difficult it is for an adult to function with the constant pain of losing a child. It's just so devastating, and I think that's the thing that I would add, that he did. It was just, you can understand. You don't condone the alcoholism,
right?
But you can understand because the pain was so intense, and at the point where he had the alcohol was under control, he was coaching, he was doing a great job.
Right.
But when he learned of a very close friend losing a child with another tragedy, it just threw him over. He just couldn't deal with it. It was too devastating. So it really hit home. It was a very emotional movie.
Let me ask you, as somebody who loves sports, as I know you do, and all of us know you do, and as somebody who I'm sure has seen plenty of sports movies in your day, do you feel like this is a welcome addition to all those great sports movies of the past?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many high school basketball movies, especially like Hoosiers and the one Glory Road or whatever, the one talked about Texas El Paso being the first black starting team to win the NCAA tournament. So many, but this really was much more than a basketball story. It was a human story dealing with loss and alcohol and touching young people's lives. And it was very real. I think Ben Affleck I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was really a great movie.
I totally agree.
I strongly urge anyone to see The Way Back because you know what? And your time in the theater is going to be limited because Long Beach Theater was closed down, and I think in the extremely near future, most movie theaters will be shut down.
Yeah, the big chain theaters.
So see it ASAP.
Yeah, see it ASAP because the theaters are mostly still open right now. This is a studio release from Warner Brothers. That's a big studio. All the major chains get the big studio movies, but it may not last for long. So your time may be pretty limited. But I have to tell you, for a movie like this, we don't see too many of these movies from the big studios anymore. Everything's superhero movies now, and franchises. This was definitely a well-made movie, and I definitely feel like if you want to see a really well-made drama, this is definitely the way to go. I think, to take something that we've seen so many times before with like sports movies, this really does it justice. This really adds to the great things that we've seen before, and I definitely would recommend this movie heavily. I think it does it. It tells it in a way that's fresh, and somebody like Ben Affleck, who has struggled with alcoholism himself, I think he was the best person to make this a really great movie, and I really do feel like his guiding hand really makes this a wonderful movie to see right now. So I definitely give The Way Back 4 out of 5 stars. So thank you very, very much.
And finally, the final word on this, Rocco, is, by the way, where is Ben Affleck from?
Boston, Beantown.
There you go.
3, 2.